All right, you guys, welcome to the DM and Friends live stream, Monday night live stream. I am DM Angelo, and I am absolutely excited to have right here, pointing in the right direction this time. I'm so happy to have Anna Meyer on our show tonight. She's our special guest, and we're gonna talk some Greyhawk, and we're gonna talk all kinds of stuff that Anna does. And Anna, thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you for having me. This is fun. I sit here and do maps of places that don't exist, and no one understands what I'm doing. And that's why I love to come to conventions and do stuff like this when you have people that understand what I'm doing and you can talk to and nerd out with. So it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. So, you know, I physically first met you at Page. We were both at Page, and you did the Greyhawk panel, and you know, I was very excited to see you because I've been following you. You know, I'm like you. I'm a Greyhawk nerd, and I've been following you for quite some time on your Patreon, and I don't know how long I have been, but I've always, you know, anybody that DMs in Greyhawk knows about your maps. I mean, knows about your involvement in it, and you know,
I've been doing it long enough now that I've started. I reached out through. I penetrated the Greyhawk community now.
You sure have.
Yeah, so they know about me. So yeah, whether they like me or not, that's another issue. But at least they know about me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I was very excited to hey Drag, hey Advanced, how you guys doing? So I was very excited to see you there, and you know, I've kind of been following you quite some time on your Patreon, and it's funny when I went up to you and asked you like, hey, would you know, I'd love to have you on my show and all that stuff, and obviously you fully accepted right then and there. It was really cool, and I came back here, you know, after coming back to Page, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, my credit card on Patreon is so I did a whole year for you, and it lapsed, and then so I just recently jumped on again. But
that's awesome.
You do some great work. You've been doing some really cool stuff, and it's also mind blowing in the amount of technical. I don't even know what the right words are, but like the depth of your understanding of the geography.
There's a lot of people who do fantasy maps, they fall into two broad categories, so to speak. And one is that you have artistic people that are true artists that draw maps that looks beautiful, gorgeous, and fantastic. And then you have the other end of the spectrum where you have people who are cartographers, and then you can make maps look good, but it's primarily that they function as maps. And I fall more into that camp. I'm trying to learn more and more on the artistic side with fonts and all that stuff, so to speak. And then you have a lot of famous people who have an artistic degree. They know everything about art, and they can paint and draw and sketch and all that. I'm not an idiot when it comes to art, but I'm definitely not an artist. I'm a cartographer with a little bit of an eye for the aesthetics, but that's about it. So my understanding is the setting and geography and all the technical parts on how maps work, so to speak. That's my attack angle, so to speak.
Well, for you to claim to not be an artist, you could fool me, because looking at the shields alone and the banners now that you just released,
that's decades of Photoshop understanding and stuff. I know how to puzzle things together and make them look good. So yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, if that's not an artist, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's so crazy because I mean, you know, I was actually looking at some of the last stuff in, you know, you had. When did you start making the Greyhawk maps? As early as 2019, I think.
No, the story as a hobby, it goes back to the mid 90s. I started gaming in 79, 80, and the winter 79, 80. I forgot which it was before or after New Year's, but it was snow and cold outside. I grew up in Sweden and moved to California about a decade ago, so it was cold and snowy like East Coast. It's like Scandinavian climate. It's 6 months of winter. every year.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of like here in Montana.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, we were just talking about that too, man.
Yep. So I started,
she's in LA right now. I'm in Montana.
So I'm enjoying the Southern California weather where it's like 82 degrees today and sunny. So it's awesome. But,
so is that's where you kind of started gaming? I mean, kind of
and
start
then
from the beginning.
Yeah, and then I got the box set in, and because I started as a player, and then I wonder what, and I never read fantasy fiction. I knew about Tolkien, but I've never read Tolkien and stuff like that. So fantasy was not something I was into or really interested in before I started gaming. And then I realized, oh, what all these cool stories? Where do they come from? And I didn't understand it in the beginning. And then I read Bilbo, but I read the Swedish old translation, which is crappy by today's standards. But anyway, so then eventually I got the Greyhawk box set in '83 when we played for a few years. And that's when I realized, oh, this is where the cool stuff is. So that became my go-to thing, so to speak. So I read it. I was in Dubrovnik that summer for a vacation for a couple of weeks. And I brought my D&D stuff, and I read the Greyhawk. And the city of Dubrovnik in what was then Yugoslavia, because this is the year or the same year Tito fell apart. So they was going into war. It was starting to get scary, but it hasn't fallen apart yet. But it's still old Yugoslavia. But it was meaning it's a medieval fantasy city. So I was there for about 2 weeks, and I read it, and I fell in love with the setting, just like I fell in love with the city. And that was my intro into Greyhawk. And then it became my go-to, so to speak. I realized I needed, if I wanted to run games, I needed a place I understood to run games. So I just kept it up. And it's kind of funny. I've changed so many things in my life, but I don't want to change where I run my games. So I changed rule systems. I moved to the other part of the world and all sorts of stuff. But change where I run my games. That's something I don't want to do. So I'm a Greyhawk nerd forever, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've dove in the Greyhawk world for, I mean, gosh, so you've been there almost at the beginning then.
Almost since the beginning. The folio was in the '80s, so I'm one of the first generation of Greyhawk gamers. So to speak, that has been at it. And that is the good thing in that sense, because I got the chance to digest it over decades. So I got the chance to get to know it slowly and deliberately. And in the beginning, it was just one of my many hobbies.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize I wanted to map. And I saw it. I was in the military back then. So I saw these cool maps that were computer generated in the late '80s, early '90s. And I was like, I want that for my games.
Yeah.
That gave me the idea of cartography and role-playing games. And then I saw the program Bryce come out in the mid '90s. In the beginning, I penciled things and had little like color pens and stuff. And I'm going to publish some of them on my blog because they look.
Do you still have a lot of that stuff?
Oh yeah, I still have.
Oh
everything.
My God, you're so
So I hoard everything. So they look terrible. They're So I want to show them, because if I can make beautiful maps, anybody can make them. Literally.
Yeah.
So
hey, I want to stop real quick here and just say hi to everybody that's come on. So Lloyd Metcalf, thanks for joining. Good to see you, man. We had him on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Stephen Fugats, welcome. Dreg, Blair Blurs, and Dreg.
Lloyd Metcalf. Yeah, I remember that name.
Yeah, Lloyd. Yeah, Lloyd was on a couple of weeks ago talking about one of his Kickstarters.
Awesome!
Which I've been every Monday. I kind of get a new guest on that's actually, it's kind of talk about like what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna talk about your Patreon, what you're doing, and things like that. And hey, Lloyd, Night on the art box set was inspiring. Let me see if I have it here. Oh, I don't have it here. It's in the room. You talk about Lloyd, I agree with you on that. You talk about being a Greyhawk nerd, which I think, those of us that are, which I kind of think I am. I get pretty in technical with, you do with the maps, which is amazing. And I want to talk about other areas that you do. Like I was doing a video the other, for my next Greyhawk video was on the calendar, right? And I saw the discrepancies from the folio where they had 360 days, and then
Mhm.
they added 4 days to add
Yeah,
the
even out the
rotation.
years, so to speak. So yeah.
Yeah, 364, and now fifth edition has changed it back to 360 with different season stuff. So that's going to be
Yeah.
interesting now that I'm seeing that. I don't know if you're aware of that, but you know, you have taken the nerdiness of Greyhawk to an absolutely crazy level. Like
Well, in one
I look at,
specific area, I'm trying to focus on the geography, so to speak, because that's
yeah,
my area of expertise in that sense. But on the other hand, I try to understand, because it's like when you map the real world, you use satellite images, lidar, radar, aerial images. You go out with a theodolite and you measure the terrain and so on and so forth. But when you do fantasy world, you have to survey the world in a different way. You have to read all the sources, look at the other maps and stuff, and then try to visualize the world that fits the stories. And
yeah,
so that's become my specialty, to visualize the world. So I try to understand, okay, here are all the stories, these are all the illustrations. What would the world actually look like to
yeah,
fit all
yeah.
that?
You
That's
have to
been,
really
yeah.
fill the blanks in
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah,
Yep.
because I mean, think about, and I know that you've guided yourself by the original Darlene maps, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
Well,
what
yeah,
we've all kind
that's
of.
what we started with. Yeah. And
That's what
that's
you,
what
yeah. I
drew
mean,
me
you
into
had
it.
to.
Yep.
So think about like the crystal mist, mountains. Like you look at that, and it's very vague.
Mm-hmm.
Like but you
Yeah.
really filled in the blanks to figure out
Well,
elevation
right
and
now, the current map that I started working on in 96, 97, that I used Bryce to do back in the day, that's the one I've been recognized for, so to speak. And that took it it worked. I worked on it for like 30 years, and it's still the base. There's still a version or two to come out before I retire it completely, so to speak.
yeah, yeah,
So that one, but that one is very, it's still vague. It looks cool, but it's not. It's vague, so to speak. But what you do when you've done it, you start over again to do it better. So this time
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
started over, and now I'm started for 10 years. I tried to figure out how to best go about it, and now I'm actually starting the production phase of the next generation of Greyhawk maps. And
yeah,
then I'm going to go from the current map is like a mile per pixel roughly, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
so
That's
mean
what I
there is
remember.
no
I heard you
yeah,
talking about on
yeah,
the
there's
panel.
no detail whatsoever. The new maps is going to be 5 feet per pixel.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is absolutely amazing.
yeah.
I mean,
So I'm done shield lands, and I'm not completely done, but I've done the basic height map and rivers and stuff of shield lands. It's not
yeah,
textured yet, but more than in test details that I've done for my campaign. But now I'm doing it over in a way that I can. I've done test maps for 5 6 years, so now I know that the method works, and I've even improved on it because there was so much photoshopping needed that I realized that this is not feasible. So I
yeah,
went back again, and now I'm starting to understand 3D visual programming at a level where I realized that now I can actually make meandering rivers and do all of that stuff.
yeah,
And it's kind of cutting edge because there's a lot of people who do this for video games and stuff, but no, I want to visualize in full glory a whole continent, and no one has done that. Middle Earth have had a couple of attempts. There was one in the early 2000s by a German team,
oh
German,
really?
British, yeah, German, British, Canadian team of about 20 people, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. They had a newsletter and stuff, and it was so awesome, and I was so jealous because it was the wrong world, but they had all the tools and they had computing power, but that fizzled out, and I realized after a couple of years when I worked on Brace that the technology wasn't there. Not even a supercomputer could do it back then,
Yeah,
not because you needed the raw horsepower and you also needed the software. None of them was really around.
yeah,
Now, on the other hand, now we have both the software and the hardware to do this. So
yeah,
now I'm setting to do it, but it's still cutting edge. There's still workarounds and problems. But now, for the first time, I feel like, okay, now I can actually do the whole chain, so to speak, and get it to work. Get one piece of data fitting to the next one because you have to do it in small pieces and then fit
yeah,
them together, and that is tricky. But I figured out how to do that. But that took 7 years to figure that out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It sounds like, I love when you talk about the evolution of kind of, I could only imagine, maybe you started on something like a 386 or
Oh yeah, exactly.
480.
When I started the maps, I had a Pentium 90. I think that was the
Yeah.
second generation Pentiums in the late 90s, and I always tried to buy the beefiest PC money could buy.
Yeah.
So I always buy computers that roughly cost around $6,000-$7,000 every 5 years. I bought a new one for about roughly that amount of money. And now
Wow.
I have two workstations that are good. I have one new 32 core monstrosity with the 4090.
What's the graphics card that you use? Because
I use I have a 4090 in my main machine because I use it with gaming. The
4090.
Other one,
Okay.
yeah, and the other one I have an Nvidia Quadro 6000, and it's actually a more expensive
Okay.
card
Yeah.
my render horse, so to speak, that renders in the background for the most part. And that one is a 24 core. No, it's a 16 core AMD, and both of them have 128 gigabytes of RAM in them, and a bunch of fast SSDs, so I can swap really large amount of, because data often reach up to a terabyte or two when I'm rendering, so I can swap fast. And
God, I could only imagine. Yeah. It's funny. I have some of the maps that you threw up here. I think I have an RTX on this workstation. I have an RTX 3070, I think 3070, and it takes a minute because there's so much detail. You know what I mean? And
and now I've been using World Machine, and I'm starting to use Gaia to terrain creation tools. That I've been using World Machine for over 10 years now, and I'm still using an old version that is like 6 years old because it's still better than the new version in some ways. But I'm transitioning slowly to the new one. And Gaia is going to looks really, really promising. So hopefully that can speed up the process even more.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
I want to pause it really quick. We do have a couple questions coming in. I don't want to not take the questions. And I also want to do something. I want to throw up a background here. I don't want to scare everybody, you or me, but look at that background.
There's a lot of shields there. Yeah.
But by the way, Lloyd is talking about one of your 3x5 index cards with the little hand-drawn map animated on an ink blob somewhere here, highlighted.
Oh, cool! Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Some years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably remember that.
Yeah.
We'll get to this question, Dreg. He says, Dreg was asking about wanting to know about some of the mapping software and programs you use. I'm sure we'll get to that in a second. Dr. Phobos, good to see you. RPG Grandpa, good to see you. Thanks for joining, man. Dr. Phobos did ask, will the transition from Easy Zoom to another program be difficult?
It depends on.
Tell us a little bit about Easy Zoom.
Yeah, Easy Zoom was a service that has been around for almost 10 years now, I think.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that you can upload really large images, meaning 20, 30, 40,000, 50,000 pixels large.
Yeah.
And you can upload them. And what Easy Zoom did was that they chopped them up into tiny little pieces in different resolutions, and then their web server present them to you. So you can zoom in and out, and you can pan using really large images, way too big for the browser.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, so the browser can't handle even, and a lot of people complain because when they download this image, they say, "Oh, my browser say the file is broken." Yeah, because the browser can't show it. You need to have a dedicated image viewer to see it. But Easy Zoom kind of work around that by chopping it up to small pieces and then have a server
in small little chunks. Pixelated, well, not pixelated, but kind of layered.
So it's been a great service that way that you use it. But they got bought up by some other company or changed directions, so they wanted to be a medical imaging company.
That's what you were saying on your blog post.
Yeah. So now they are PathoZoom instead of Easy Zoom. So they want to be pathological Zoom or something. So it still functions, but it's probably in the end of that service. They will probably close it any day. They might close it, so to speak. So then there are other services, but the problem is that they're even open sourced ones, but they are the ones that there are two routes to go with this. One is for
Oh,
me
okay.
to install something on my web server and serve
Got it.
them up there. And there are options for that. The problem is that then I have to write JavaScripts and I have to do all sorts of stuff. And
Oh
that's
God.
not my. I'm not an idiot, but I'm not an expert in that. So that's one. And to be honest, for the old version of the map, I don't think it's worth it because there's a whole other route that I think I want to take, and that is you can. I'm using QGIS for making GIS maps, and GIS is Geographical Information Systems. That's the
Yes.
cartography standard that is used for real
Standard. Yes.
maps, like
Mhm.
Google Maps and OpenStreetMap, and yeah, real world cartography uses GIS in order to present maps. And you can use that for fantasy maps too if you have the map data. And that's what I'm producing right now. So I've actually already have my current Greyhawk map in GIS already. So what I can do is that I can set up a GIS, what they call a geo server. And that is
Got it.
doing the same thing as Easy Zoom, but way more advanced because not only can you present the image, you can put layers on top, and it will also be something you can search, and because it comes with a database and it also geographically referenced. So you can
Are
technically upload an Excel spreadsheet with the place names with latitude and longitude and display them, etc., etc.
are these the Zoom the are these the screenshots you sent me today?
No,
What you're talking about?
that's part of doing the data part, so to speak, the high resolution data. And you can also present 3D maps, which is another cool stuff in there.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it. Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yeah. That meaning that yeah, they use it for everything from oil extraction, mining, city planning. Yeah, big corporations use it for logistics. Yeah, meaning GIS is the world standard when it comes to maps in any field, so to speak. But it is really cool because it is a proven standard with great tools. We just have to. The problem, since Greyhawk doesn't exist, that means that I have to create the data and then also create the map, which is more difficult. When if you use the real world data, you can just purchase the data or use open data and then you make your map on top of it. But if you have
Yeah.
Greyhawk, I have to create the data. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating the base height map, the base texture, and all of that, so to speak. So then it can be used for whatever purpose. And GeoServer is one thing, use GIS. And another technology that is in some ways even more promising and interesting is that you can put the same data into a game engine like Unreal. And then you
Oh
can,
wow.
yes. And that's why I'm keen on getting high quality data that is in a standard format. So you can export it into whatever tool you want to. So therefore you can you can combine GIS and Unreal and game engines. And Unreal is the top dog right now, but if that's the case in 5 years, I don't know. But so that's why I want to use standard data formats that can be used in whatever purpose. Because my
Yeah.
my
The
hope
most
is that this
compatible, right? The most
exactly
compatible
this
with.
data should be available for everybody beyond me. I'm 60, so I will only be around for like 20 more years doing this. So that's where I'm think that this is something that can live on beyond me. So what I do is that I provide the canvas and others can build upon, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You guys, this is a great time for me to pull up.
yeah,
Anna's got a Patreon that you can really follow her, and she gives a lot of. And I've been part of her Patreon for a while, and like the story I said earlier, I my thing lapsed, and I just actually recently signed back up
no
for another
worries.
year.
Thank
But
you. Yeah.
so I'm gonna bring up a little scan code for
Hmm.
your Patreon. Those of you guys, uh, use the QR code. This takes you to her Patreon site. You can sign up to it.
They have a
Talk
free
talk
tier
about it.
too. Yeah, they have. You have a free tier which you sign up, which gives you basically a newsletter. So like once a month or so, I will make a post what I'm working on, and that will
Yeah.
be free. And also, everything that I do on the Patreon will become free after a little while, so to speak. So what I offer patrons is a way to contact me directly and tell me what I'm doing wrong or what I should do instead. And also you get like early access on something, so to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah. And I think you I mean,
and yeah.
you stay pretty up to date on it too. Like you're always kind of posting to it.
I try to post like once a week, but
Yeah,
the problem is that a lot of these projects are really big. So I have to work like 6 months before I have something really new to show. So they come
sure.
in batches. That's why I like to have like heraldry and banners and these little small projects that I can work on for a couple hours that week and have something to show.
Yeah.
And it's also fun to do. So those are my side hobbies that gives me a little bit of extra things to little nuggets I can keep patrons happy between the big batches of stuff, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to. Would it be okay to bring up? I
Oh
think I have a
yeah,
copy
please.
of
Whatever.
your
Yeah.
2022 map.
Oh
I want
yeah,
to bring that up
definitely.
and
Yeah.
and like I said, I want to nerd out with you on this
Yeah,
because
and
I
Lloyd,
think
yeah,
this,
weather is definitely something I wanted to do weather maps for. That one of my pet projects that I want to do is that I want
yeah,
to make a weekly weather forecast for Greyhawk, week by week throughout the year, so people can have that and weather forecast. And that's one of the beauties with GIS. I can put symbols in there, so it would not be too much work. So you can have realistic weather developing, like an update once a week or something. But it's something that shouldn't, if it takes more than 2 hours to do, it's too much work. So it's something that takes me a couple hours a week. I would love to have like a weekly weather forecast for Greyhawk. Yeah.
oh my God, that would be so
Mm-hmm.
cool. That would
Yep.
be
Yep.
absolutely cool. There was a, when now that you're talking about kind of some things, um, I got a question from. I actually did a post on Facebook and said,
Yeah.
"Everybody, I got you coming on my show. Let me get a couple questions." Dreg asked a question that I want to make sure I ask
Mm-hmm.
or I'll forget. Let me bring it up. Sorry about this, guys. Dreg asked a question about. Okay, let me see here. He said, "Here we go." He said, "Many fans like myself love the Greyhawk festivals. Can Anna please put together a festival reference, much like she's done with her heraldry and other relations on her Notion site?"
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, yeah, and I have in my Obsidian, that is my campaign management tool of choice. I love Obsidian.md. So I have a calendar. I put it in there and I've added and tweaked a little bit. So I definitely want to do that. And the banners were one, and I also have a couple of other projects that going in the same. I want to do milestones, which is kind of fun, where you walk around roads and you what these little monuments and milestones and stuff. That's another one tying into this.
Yeah,
And also I want to envision not everybody use shields and banners the way that the ARD and others do. So I can maybe what the almonds, maybe they have like a totem pole or something like that. They make something out of wood. So I'm going to do, so I did some wood carving tests and stuff, and they turned out fairly good. So I have other models of cool like that. Maybe the old Flan they made other types of monuments and stuff. So I'm
yeah,
going to, so there will be something missing in banners that I will not be part of these batches that are coming out, because that way I saving them because I have got some other kind of tangentially related projects that I want to do, so to speak. So yeah.
yeah. So I will, since you're talking about the banners, I'm blown away by the work you did with. Oh God, I just activated
The
my
banners
AI
the
on
banners are
my.
fun, and I have to admit that I've used clip art, a little bit of AI, and so on for the
Yeah,
pieces, so I can puzzle together templates, and then I take these templates and I put the shields on, and I use Photoshop Voodoo in order to make them look good, so to speak. So that's
so here's
the idea.
here's some of the banner work that you've
Yeah.
done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't have the individual pictures, but I mean, this is incredible. I
Thank
mean,
you. Yeah.
this is absolutely incredible. And you guys, this is her Patreon site right here.
Oh yeah, so you
So
can go, and they're free, so you can just go and download the latest two. They're zip files, so you can just download them and open up. And also everything that I do for Greyhawk on my Patreon are Creative Commons by, so you're allowed to do whatever you want with it.
yeah,
The only thing is that you can please give me a credit, so to speak. So People are
Yeah.
using them on DM Guild's products. You can use them on your stream, on your blog, in your games, and stuff like that. So that's the idea. Because the reason I want to do this is that I want that to be a raw material every Greyhawk fan and gamer and DM can use for their own games and also alter them and so on. So when I'm done with the banners project, I will release all the templates I used. I will release them as layered Photoshop files. So you can make your own banners, and I might not have to wait until the end. I might start releasing them in batches too. So you will have the displacement filters and all the stuff that I've used, so to speak. So the raw material will be available. Just like the Illustrator file for my current Greyhawk map is also available, and the geo package and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a Sarah heraldry and some other stuff that I've done. So
yeah. Yeah, you had, and it's funny that you kind of talk about Creative Commons, or well, I don't know, I don't know about the technical terms and all that stuff, but that I think is years back. That was, I think, how you and I started talking on Discord. I saw some of your heraldry, and I'm like, God, I really want to put this in my blog for something that I was blogging about. And I think I had asked you, I said, hey, Anna, can I use this? And you said, of course.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's what I'm doing, and I need to write that about more often and say that, because that's what I do. That's my business idea, is that I provide a lot of the components and the canvas and stuff that, as a Greyhawk DM and a player and a fan, or if you're a content creator, use my stuff as part of what you do, so to speak. That's the idea, and make your own version of them. So that's why they're under Creative Commons buy. So you can, don't worry about it. You can make your own version and sell it. And people do in DM's Guild and stuff. My heraldry and some of my maps and stuff are probably in about 30 or 40 products by now. So I will be very grateful if you send me a review copy, or like a thank you copy in PDF or something like that. That would be awesome. But that's all I'm asking. So yeah.
Yeah, if it goes into published work or something like that. Yeah.
It's but that's the whole idea, is to provide this as a resource for the Greyhawk community to use in their games in any way they see fit, so to speak, and also to alter it. You don't have to take my version. You can download the raw Illustrator file and make your own version, or you can use the geo package, fire up QGIS, and make your own version of the map. And stuff. So yeah.
So you guys, this QR code is to her Patreon site, and I think you just announced, or you announced a while back, that you had 1,000 Patreon members.
Yes,
now.
I have a bit over.
That is absolutely crazy.
Now, so
yeah, that is super cool. Yeah. I mean, most everybody on here probably knows, but I've absolutely, and we all love your work. I mean, the stuff you're doing for the Greyhawk community is, second to none.
And it's also because there's some people, they make adventures or they write stories and stuff, but I provide the building blocks you can use, like maps, heraldry, and stuff that people can use in their games. That's my specialty and stuff. And I'm also dabbling in making my own rule system now, but we can talk about that later. So that's
let's definitely talk about that. So this I think is the 20. Talk about what this map is right here. So this is the 2022.
Yeah, that's this is the map I started working on in 96. I think it was 96, 97. And so it's 30 years old now. So I started work on it, and I finished it in 2011, 2012, somewhere around that. And then I've updated a little bit every year. And this is the hexed version. I think it's the probably 30-mile hexes or 12.
That's what I was going to ask you.
No numbers. Is it the hexes aren't numbered? So then it's the 30. Yeah, that's the 30 mile.
Yeah, this is a 30 hex.
30 mile hexes. Yeah. So there's non-hexed versions, and now there's also GIS-based version that have two grids. One with 100-mile squares, and the other is the latitude longitude grid. So there's a white grid and a black grid. So that's the new GIS-based versions, and they are projected. So then the distances are correct, so to speak. These are just guesstimates and not really accurate, so to speak.
So these ones right here were Okay, so that's interesting because I was gonna actually ask you that. So I know you based a lot of the stuff on the Darlene maps, which we talked about earlier, and that's what we all had, you know,
Yeah.
and you know the amazing Darlene maps, and then so you how accurate did you have to did you nerd out enough to where you're like, okay, this hex
Yeah. What I
is where
did.
high port is,
Yeah,
you
what I
know?
did back then, I did it in pieces. So I had like, let's say the Wild Coast area. So there was like small pieces at a time because the computer was not that powerful. So I had to work in small pieces at a time. So I worked in one piece. So what I tried to do was to collect as much information I could. So back
Yeah,
then it was kind of funny because I usually asked before saying, now I'm going to work on, like in this case, Pomarsh or the Wild Coast area. And then I asked on the Cannon Fire community forums and other places, oh, can you please help me out what I should do? I didn't hear anything. And
yeah,
and so then I worked for like 6 months or so on it and tried to get as much in there and make it as accurate as I could using all the text that I had available. And remember, a lot of Greyhawk products were published when I started this. So that's why I
yeah,
have to add and correct and stuff. And I didn't know there was so much I didn't know and stuff. So I worked on it to make a good map as I could at the time, so to speak. And then I published it, and people criticized the heck out of it. And then
of
I
course,
realized after a while that maybe I could use this to my advantage. So
yeah,
instead of researching for 6 months and working for a long time trying to make perfection, I put up a half-assed thing that was like, oh, these are the basics, and people criticized the hell out of it. Then I took that criticism because people told me what should be there and why didn't you read this, and then I used
yeah,
that as my reading list. And so I turned my worst critics into my best helpers in the beginning. And when I told them that,
yeah,
they weren't happy. So in the beginning, people weren't that thrilled with this project, to be honest. But there were some people that reached out early on and were very positive. And then people it grew on them over time because I kept at it. And so that's my general advice to people who want to, if you want to create and work for a fan community, it's a marathon and
yeah,
keep at it, keep improving. You will, the reason this map is regarded reasonably well to good in the Greyhawk community is I've updated it for over a decade after it was finished to make it
yeah,
better, to take in all the comments and all the typos and the things that were missing and so on and so forth. So keep at it, so to speak, and eventually it will turn good. And the Greyhawk community is the best quality assurance team you can have in the world because meaning I have a lot of the people who wrote this stuff and people who know way more about Greyhawk than I do, who keep telling me what I should be there, what shouldn't be there, etc., etc. So yeah, so it's a back and forth. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, you know, it's funny. Like, so my current campaign that I run, and some of the guys are on here. I think I see Dr. Phobos is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely, you know, specifically use this map. Travel down this Slavers Road
Mm-hmm.
here, and they're in the Slavers Stockade right now. But what I really dug about this, and I, you know, there's features in here that are a lot of it's fan stuff, and you embraced a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the fan
Yeah,
canon.
I felt I wanted to make an inclusive version of the Greyhawk map,
Yeah,
so to speak, rather than exclusive. So the basic idea, and a lot of people ask me, how do I get my stuff on your map? And people try to even bribe me with things and stuff. And sometimes that can work, but the basic idea is that at first I go to the written sources. Written sources go before maps, so to speak, because I've found out the hard way when I'm working on commission maps that the writers are the ones that have the knowledge, and whoever's doing the illustrations and maps and stuff, they come secondhand and don't know much what the text going on. So text is number one, and then maps and other stuff is number two, and then the third is people who actually wrote the stuff tells afterwards, like, oh, we meant that, and that was an error. Oh, we should have that should have been added, etc. Stuff like that. So then I add that into the map, and then my next philosophy is to simply say, well, what other stuff has been added to the campaign? I don't want to take away things. I don't want to replace the stuff that was there from in the written sources, so to speak, or the published sources. So then I add stuff that is accepted and cherished in the fan community. So I put that in there too. And also the Living Greyhawk. Not everything from Living Greyhawk is in there. So I've been a little bit
not everything. Yeah. Okay.
No, because there's some things that I don't feel fit in at all. So I've been a bit ruthless and omitted.
Have you really?
Things.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's some things that I feel like no, that doesn't fit. So it's my way of trying, and it's more like I try to be inclusive and with respectful to the Greyhawk community, so to speak. So it's hard. It's a balancing act, and sometimes you get it wrong, and people tell me, and I fix things over time, so to speak. So
yeah. You know, I was gonna kind of double click on. You know what I really like about what you did here too is you incorporated the sea routes, which I specifically used those.
Yeah, that was an idea that I had that people asked me, like, what if I want to go from one port to the other? So I simply that was a way to figure out how far. And you have an older version. The latest versions, you have little tick marks along the on the GIS version of the map. You have little tick marks every 5 miles and every 50 miles, so you can measure the distance.
Well, it makes it so much easier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes it so much easier to have a defined route.
Yeah, it's a 350-mile journey, so then you can figure out roughly how long it will take and stuff. So
yeah, I specifically, in the campaign that I'm running, I always talk about the campaign. By the way, we need to go to the comments here really quick, but I used that route from Safeton, and they traveled from Safeton all the way down to Highport, and it was really easy using your route to calculate time and distance and all that stuff. So, we can talk about how you came up with these. Obviously you had to fill in the blanks on a lot of this stuff.
That's the other tip for people who want to dig in or get into fantasy cartography, is that the writers, they spend almost all of their time focusing on the interesting pieces, the set pieces for the story, etc. But as a cartographer, your main job is to fill in the blanks in between things.
Yeah.
That's why you put in 80-90%. So instead of understanding the individual places like the town or the dungeon or whatever it is, you need to understand the environment these things are set in. And that, because the environment surrounding areas, that's where you will put 95 to 99% of your effort is going to be at everything else, not the things of interest. And that's tricky for some people, but it's also necessary if you want to visualize the world, so to speak. Is all the how the heck do you go from the desert there to the jungles here, and there's 300 miles in between? How do you cover that bit, so to speak?
Yeah. Let's go to the comments really quick. So I wanted to say, give a shout out to Stephen Clements. Thanks for jumping on. I know you just finished the game and ran over here because you didn't want to miss this. So thanks for coming on. Awesome. Freezer, good to see you, man. I know those two guys were gaming. Mr. Rourke, one of my buddies that I've been gaming with since 1981. So
wow.
Good to see you, buddy. Lloyd Steele's here. He was talking about your fonts. I never choose fonts. Those look so natural.
Thank you.
Blur.
That was hard. Yeah, it's a hard choice. I'm going to revise my font choice for the new generation of maps.
I like the fonts. I think they're great.
Yeah, they look decent, half decent, and I kept most of them. I've changed a little bit halfway through, just a tiny bit, but I want to, because I wanted the Greyhawk feel, but my own take on it. But for the new generation of maps, I want to I'm creating some of my own fonts to go with it too. So,
well, this is the 2022 version, and I know you have the version that's out after that, which is more. Yeah,
I have the GIS-based version that looks prettier than this.
I don't think my computer is going to be able to. I think we'll freeze up.
It's just it's just JPEG, so they're not that big. So yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe I can grab that then. Yeah. All right, so back to the comments really quick. So Lloyd and then Blur, just so you guys all know, she's saying 102.5 and climbing. I know she's at the, this is some dedication, guys, from Blur. She's at the, what do they call it? Urgent care right now, watching us. She says 102.5 and climbing. Goodbye, cruel world. That must be your temperature. DM Angelo will forever be the one and only DM Lord and Daddy. Okay, I think that's probably the fever talking. But anyways, Mr. Rourke, Patty Huco, good to see you. Yeah, so yeah, and then one of the guys is talking about the dwarf got seasick on that journey we were talking about. So yeah, very cool, guys. Thanks for jumping on. Those of you guys that are just jumping on, this is Anna Meyer, who is responsible for, well, I'll just call her one of the biggest Greyhawk nerds out there. She's responsible for these beautiful maps and all kinds of other stuff. I will periodically be bringing up her Patreon. She's got a Discord channel too that she's very active on. Scan this, show some support for Anna. She does some really great work, and anybody that's a Greyhawk fan, this is where you do it. Anyway, so yeah, so I mean, the process, Anna, of like filling in the blanks on a lot of this stuff, like, it's funny, like there's not much mention for, I mean, I'll bring up something because I know about it.
You have an idea. Yeah, you have an idea. Selene is a good example. There's probably everything that is written on Selene probably fills 2 pages or 3, maybe 10. There's like 10 pages on the whole country. That's about it.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. You have to.
Yeah, there's hardly, and there's like 10 place names or something that you can vaguely relate to Selene. That's about it. 10, 15 maybe if you push it. Yeah.
And that's the attraction. By the way, Thunderstruck Workshop. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hello.
Good, thanks for jumping on. I that's the attraction for me for Greyhawk. I don't need 75 pages of
I agree. That's part of it. Yeah. So what I want to provide is the canvas that you can fill with cool stuff, so to speak. So, so you can figure out where do you want the keep to be, and where do you want the orc ambush to be, and stuff like that. So you can, as a source of inspiration. And this map, they maybe to some degree can function as that, but the new generation of maps definitely, because I've used them for now 4 or 5 years in my campaign. I use the whole country as a dungeon.
Yeah.
So I simply take a screenshot, put it in the VTT. Yeah. So I use the whole country map in the VTT. I ran a whole session, 4 sessions over a whole weekend on one map, because it covers 30 miles, 30 by 30 miles, and I put the whole map in there, 1 pixel, 5 feet. So that was actually, it worked really well. So I have the new standard, so to speak, that is I'm starting to roll out, and it's also 3D, so you can take landscape pictures and stuff from it. So
oh my god, wow!
Yeah, so it's not only a flat.
So you can tilt.
Okay. It's full 3D. Yep.
And that's the future. The future maps you're going to be doing. Oh my god!
I gave you some screenshots in there. Hang on a second. I can put some more in Discord here.
Yeah, let me actually.
And you have in the sample folder. There's some cool stuff in there. You can.
Yeah, let's go over that too. Let me throw in some screenshots for you guys. This is pretty cool. I do want to before we. Well, I'll do that in a little bit. I was going to bring up the St. Jude's. I'll do that at the end a little bit here. I was watching you on Jay's stream. I got to raise my hand because my AI thing went nuts again, so I got to stop it. Okay, so now it won't move around. Every time I move my anyways. So, you were talking about last night on Jay's Twitch stream last night, and you were talking about, you said the word sandbox.
Yeah.
You were talking we were talking about different styles and all that. And you run a sandbox campaign, and that's what you literally double clicked on when you were talking last night. And while I bring up some of those other the 3D stuff, tell a little bit about what you run, your philosophy on running games, and kind of your style.
For me, it's the setting is center, so to speak. It's not the story and it's not the rules. It's the setting. It's the place.
That's what we were talking about. Yeah.
So I have the rules are a necessary tool set in order to make it happen. So make the journey there and to function through the game, so to speak. And also the story is something that comes out. I don't have an idea of what's going to happen. So what I do is that I map out an area, and then I come up with, oh, who lives there, so to speak. I read the stories. There's some towns, and there's some, who's the ruler, and there used to be a dragon that ruled this area 900 years ago, and there was some evil cults, and this had happened. So then that's the canvas, and then I have, okay, so this is the situation today. So then I put up some stats and some stuff, and I say, okay, the character is going to start in this village, and this is the situation, and then I'll let the players loose, and they go wherever they want. They interact with whoever that shows up, so to speak, and they kill some they want and run away from others and whatever, so to speak, and that creates the story. And then you simply and so my job as a DM is to figure out how the world reacts to what the players want the characters to do. So what they do, so I'm a passive reactive primarily, so to speak. But also what happens is that I have to keep track of things. And one of the key bits is that there's a lot of pieces, meaning, and I'm also in that way that the world is already out there, which means that the high flying players, the big nasty monsters and stuff, they're always around. They don't just exist in a dungeon waiting for the players to come and kill them. If there's a dragon in the area, the dragon might be out sleeping, or it might be sleeping in his den, or it might be a lair, or it might be out feeding, or
it's not stagnant
territory. Exactly. So I make rolls, and I also now have started to make the players make roles for these factions, and I call them factions because that way I don't have to always tell them who they are. So I let them have roles, and then I use that role to what they do, and then I calculate the time. So for instance, if I have some scouts that are going to come and it's 100 miles away, that might take them 2 days to come there, and then I simply say, okay, they will, in 2 days time they will be here unless something else happens. But on the other hand, the dragon might roll that later, and he might be able to fly that in an hour, and so he might come early, so to speak. So and that depending on if the characters are still there, if they're out in the open, or whatever. So it's an interaction between the world and what the players want the characters to do, and it's a back and forth there. So that's how I run my games. So I develop an area basically, and not every detail. I just need to have enough play piece and area so the players have something to do, and then I just try to stay 1 degree ahead. And the golden rule is that you need to develop and prep 1 level deeper than the players know they want, so to speak. So you have to figure out what the needs of the play group is. If they are nerdy and want the lore and will go in and say, oh, I want to know this damn cult, where they come from, and who's the priest there, whatever, then you have to have a backstory there. Enough that you can fill in the details on the fly. So my NPCs are basically 2-3 at the most they are 3 paragraphs. The master villains are a page, and the other ones are 1 or 2 lines. There's stat block or a reference to a stat block and 6 words. A greedy whatever businessman or something like that, or someone who is scared and have a secret, and I don't detail much. The rest I fill in as we go. So
God, that's so funny. That's so funny. It sounds like our style is pretty much the same. I come from the school of, I don't really, I don't do hours and hours and hours of prep. I just want to make sure that I know what my world is and how my world's going to react to the player.
Mapping is the playtime. The map, because the map is the way I visualize and think. I think in territory and what the world look like. So I need to understand this so I can understand how difficult is it for the players to go there? How difficult would it be for someone else to go around the hills and beat them and ambush them and stuff like that? So I can, all these questions, both to myself and the players, I need to feel I can give a good answer. And also the maps give me a chance because the players always remember everything. So if we go back to a play 6 years afterwards, the players always remember every damn detail, and you as a DM,
So NPC names,
exactly, yeah. So that's the thing. I've learned that I need to know the geography better than anybody, because that way, that consistency. If they can sense that, oh, we were here 8 years ago, and the buildings are exactly the same, or some of them
Yeah.
have been burned down or whatever, but they can sense that I remember every bit, so to speak. So it feels like home.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is that kind of delivery. It should feel like that it's actually a world. For me, that's
Yeah.
important. But for others, that might not be. For some people, it's more like it's a game. It's about finding the coolest treasure, getting the most XP, get the
Yeah.
most pluses, and meaning, and that I think is one of the strengths with this hobby is that there's so many different ways you can play the game that are all very right and very viable.
Yeah.
And if it's fun, that then you're doing it right. So
Yeah.
I'm doing it one way, maybe kind of on the extreme side, but there are many other ways to play it as well, and which I think is one of the strengths of this hobby. You can play it in so many different ways.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I'm gonna bring up those screenshots. You sent me a couple screenshots on Discord. You got
Yeah, those
earlier.
are
So
the latest. Yeah, this is not finished by any. It's not even textured. The reason I wanted to show this is that this is what the terrain I'm working with, terrain data at 5 feet per pixel. So this area here is probably about 3 miles across or something like that. It's not zoomed in fully. It's a little bit of distance, but it's to show the data. So I would use all this data, the height data, the data for water streams, and there you have it in 3D. So that's the
yeah, this
quick
is a great
wallet.
shot.
Yeah.
So
So and
and
then
you're using, what are you using here?
this is World Machine that I'm using there, and it's
Got it.
simple. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's just a very basic green going to yellow and then white elevation coloring. And the reason I do this is that I can get the rivers and lakes to function. And what I'm
Yeah.
showing here is
You
that
can show
these.
depth and everything
Yeah.
here.
So what
Yeah.
this was proof that I can now quickly and easily put together different tiles. This is I test the water data. So if you zoom in on this one, you can actually see the water depth, and you can see
Yeah,
and
I
the
can't
water.
zoom in. Yeah, I can't zoom in from the
Ah,
this.
okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, this is a screenshot.
yeah,
So
yeah. So this is so it's way of showing, and this is before it's textured. When this is
yeah, so I
textured,
see
it
you
will.
got layers over here on the
Oh yeah,
side.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is just me putting the data in and visualizing the data without doing anything. This is just the raw data from World Machine and Gaia.
Got it.
So and this is so cool because just to get to this point used to take me weeks or a week or two on each tile. And now I can get all this data done by just rendering it in World Machine. So that will speed up the process probably. I only need like a quarter of the time I used to in order to get there, which means that I can do
Yeah.
buildings and stuff. Because when you have 1 pixel 5 feet, you get buildings and roads and stuff like that. In the sample map, you have a map of crit wall that you can
Yeah,
put in.
let me get a
Yeah.
better screen share
Hmm.
of that
Yeah.
really quick. 'Cause I actually I can zoom in on it.
Then you
But
can.
it's
Then
just
you
the way
can.
I was sharing it.
Yeah.
So if you go into
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah. That, that,
yeah,
that is
that's
not that is not super. This is from a distance. This is only the original image is only a quarter of the resolution, so I can look at it.
yeah.
But it's this is just so proof of concept that rivers and lakes and stuff functions the way they're supposed to, and I can take one piece of data together with the other one. So yeah. So that
Yeah.
was a proof that it works, so to speak.
And
So
this is your next gen of maps, is
yeah,
basically
next
what,
gen of
yeah.
maps. But if you go to the sample folder, there is a crit wall map where you can see what it will look like. Fully
Yeah,
textured.
let me do that. So you gave me a sample, and I do want to go
Mhm.
through a lot of this because this is
Yeah, it's
super
a little bit
cool.
what I show people who are interested in hiring me for
Yeah, and that's the
so it's
one that
my yeah,
was
it's
from
my
the.
portfolio thing, so to speak. So yeah,
Yeah, okay, let's go through that. For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and
So you have
you can kind of walk us through like what it all is, and
yeah. There
definitely.
should be
Yeah.
there's a couple of things. Didn't I put
Yeah,
hang
this
on
was
a
all
second.
stuff from Dropbox, I think, right?
Oh yeah, but hang on a second. I can put in I should put in
Uh, window, entire screen. Chrome tab. Here we go. Creation. We don't want a whole window. There we go. You talking about the ones in this right here?
Yeah, well, no, that's just a screenshot. But hang on a second. I'll post the link to so you can get the here is there's the link to the crit wall map.
Okay, let me see if I can bring it up on Discord. You sent me,
and you can also here is here it's in 3D as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and if you get the yeah, those are old samples, but there's a GIS map in there too, I think. No, these I need to update these. I thought they were newer. They're not that new. So I'll
yeah. Let me. This is a PNG of that one. Oh, that's a JPEG.
Yeah. Maps. Hang on a second. We have digital here, so we have
save image. Oh, that's the isometric map. Yeah. Okay.
And here's one of the new GIS maps. I put that in Discord here too. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I see that one. Okay, let me see. I'll download that one too.
And these were early tests I did for so they need to be replaced. But show the crit wall city map. That's the one I'm most proud of because that is the full power of the.
Oh, the crit wall one. Yeah, let's do that right now. I'll bring that up.
Yeah, that is the full power of that is it's 1 pixel per 5 feet. So it's city maps with the whole surroundings. It's not only the city, and it's in 3D, and you can see the surroundings. So you can take the one and zoom in, and then you have the detail top down with city name, street names, and buildings and stuff.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a good representation of that, guys.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot here because a lot of my files are big and stuff. So
yeah, that's okay.
It's kind of funny where every time I upgraded and set out new maps, people say, "Damn, I need to buy a new computer again," and the PDF maps killed computers and stuff. So
yeah. Okay, here's the crit wall one. Let me bring that up. Okay, Chrome tab. I'm trying to figure out the. Okay, there we go. There we go. So this is the one I think you're talking about, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
this is the one. This is the one we can zoom in and show things.
Yeah, this is absolutely cool. Yeah. And it might take my computer a minute to kind of render up.
Now I think it's rendered. Yeah. Now
that looks great. Wow. How tough is that to kind of fill in all the streets? And
it took about a month to do this one, so it's didn't take that long to be honest. That was the technique is not that difficult because the terrain is used, and then you just put layers in Photoshop with the buildings, and then you and the height data, and then you put that back into. I think I used World Machine for that. I tried both World Machine and Gaia, and then you render it out. And this is the top-down version, and you can zoom in and see the city, the street names and stuff. It should be that.
Yeah, I might not be able to do it with this computer, but yeah, I can see. Yeah, probably not the best representation for that, but
no, but it's okay. So that's the you can see. Hang on a second, I can put a screenshot in there so I can.
And then you got this one too. You said you were. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that's the new GIS based maps. But you have the the 3D version of that one. But I can. I'll.
Where was? Yeah, let's see here.
That was that's the one. Yeah, zoom in on that one.
Okay, yeah.
That's crit wall in 3D. So that's the same map as the other one, but you can see it isometric. So
yeah, there we go. My video card just caught up a little bit. Yeah, that is super cool. Oh my god. Yeah. That's really great. Look at the elevation and the. I mean, right here you got.
I put in Discord. I put a close-up screenshot. So it's not perfect. This is my first city map I did with this technique.
Oh
So
yeah, okay, yeah, I can.
the
This is a
future
great one. Yeah,
the
yeah, I
future
see
ones
that.
will be more, but it's really cool because it actually matches. You get a top-down map, and here you get an isometric view, so you can actually see what it looks like in
Yeah,
3D.
that is actually amazing. Let me bring that up. That is super cool. Sorry, I'm talking about something you guys can't see
Yeah.
yet, but I'll bring it up. And yeah,
Yeah, so this
yeah,
is how the detail, that big map that you looked at before, it's this detail when you zoom
let
in.
me
You can actually,
maximize this so everybody can
yeah, so
kind of
you can
see.
actually see the individual houses and stuff, and they don't look perfect by any means, but
Yeah,
it's
well, this is
enough
a
to
screen.
give
This
a
is a
good,
screenshot, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
you can actually navigate around the town, and you can get a good view of how difficult it is. And this is my first attempt. I already know how to make it better. So in the future, it will look even better than this. This is my first
Yeah,
attempt.
yeah.
But
Well, in a screenshot, the resolution from a screenshot is not going to be
no.
anywhere near the
Yeah.
final product. I mean, this
But
is
the
just.
good thing with this is that it's not only the city. I made the whole country at this detail.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm making the whole of Shieldlands and then more. I'm working on the city of Greyhawk too, so it will come
Oh
at
my
this
God.
level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's super, super cool.
I think we scared off people from chat here. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope
yeah. You
Blair is
guys go
doing
ahead and
okay.
please ask Anna some questions, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
That's definitely
This is
why,
usually true. It's like when I have my seminars, that people get
yeah.
shell shocked after a little while and they don't know what to
Well,
say.
you're super techy. You're like, whether you admit it or not, you
Uh-oh. There you
disconnected.
go. Yep.
The field that you're, I mean, the angle that you take this is to a whole nother level. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're talking about buzzwords like GIS and elevation and the coordinates and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's a pretty nerdy topic. It takes Greyhawk to
Yeah.
another.
I take cartography and gaming together and match the two, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, this one has the new 2 grid system, which is kind of cool. You have a white grid and a black grid. So the
yeah, tell
white,
me what that's about.
yeah, the white grid is 100 by 100 miles.
Okay,
Yeah,
the white grid is 100
yeah,
by 100. Okay, I get
100
that.
miles, and the black grid is one line every 2 degrees. So you
One
use the
line every 2 degrees. Okay, so
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so you use the black grid to find things and write down the location, latitude, longitude, and you use the white one to calculate distance. And also, if you go to sea lanes and roads, they have little mile markers. And the small mile markers are 5 miles, and the big ones are 50 miles.
Yeah. So, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is and this is going to be kind of a 3D representation where you can kind of, well, I see you did a
Well,
lot of
yeah,
work in
this is just the new version, latest version of the old map. But
yeah.
I'm using it to reference the new. I will switch out the terrain, and there will be a new, much more detailed terrain that can
Yeah.
be down to 5 feet per pixel, and I will fill in bit by bit over the next decade or so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go through the definitely. Hey, Agile, how you doing? Blair, you do have influenza
Yeah,
A. Uh-oh.
that's not good.
That's some dedication that she's actually watching from the ER.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So let's go down. So do you want to pop into the downloads folder, that one that's you got there? I know that you had some stuff that
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I've done over the years. It's kind of
yeah, let's walk
yeah.
through that because
Mhm.
I think that's pretty cool. I was kind of going through and I'm like, wow, what is this? And I think this would be a great opportunity to kind of
Yeah,
ask you.
that's a bunch of stuff that I've done over the years that I put in as a sample because it's mostly the stuff non-gray hockey stuff that I've done, and then some. I need to
Yeah, let's check
update
it
it
out.
with some of the newest, but I don't want to show the newest stuff to potential people that I want to do commissions for because they can get ideas. And I don't want them.
Yeah.
I
No,
want them. I want
totally.
their expectations lowered, because if they ask me to do things, I can't work for my patrons that well, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, let me Blair, take care. All right.
Yeah, there is a crit ball in there, a small one. So I have some new stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got so this is so
This is a
interest.
part of the old atlas I did some years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So
Hmm.
were you so you did one for so tell me why in like I know that you had the maps were titled 576, your original ones were.
Hmm.
So and there was a geography change,
Oh yeah, there's a
when we
five.
get to
There's two main
from
versions of the map: the 576 version of the map and the 598 version. 576 is the old box set folio,
yep,
meaning
yep,
how Greyhawk started, so to speak,
yep.
and the countries and the political situation and so on
And
is
then that shift
depicted.
from the ashes
Yeah,
and then yeah.
exactly, and so on. And the other one is at the end of the Living Greyhawk campaign, basically. So that's when all the published Greyhawk
Yeah,
stuff is done. So
yeah,
those are the two ends, and then then you basically pick your poison. So if you want to run your home game, you decide which one you want to start with, and then you modify from that one.
yeah.
That's my advice.
So what your current campaign? I know that you
I'm in 599. I'm 5 days into 599, so I'm still in Need Fest 599.
yeah,
So I in a little bit over a decade, I played 2 years.
yeah. So quick question for you, and
Yeah,
I like to ask this directly to you, and then we got a question from Dreg. Um, by the way, I will give a shout out, Blair. Take care. You get over that
yeah,
influenza. Yeah, that's pretty gnarly. So I want to ask you, like, what is your favorite time period in Greyhawk? Like, I have one, and I think
yeah.
I think it's no mystery that I love 576. I love the original Gary era, that kind of
Hmm.
that era really reminds me a lot of stuff you were talking about before, like the countrysides in Europe and the areas you were talking about. I've had the opportunity to actually go in various places in Europe, and it reminds me of a kind of
Hmm.
what maybe Verberbonk would be like, and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And
Hmm.
what is your favorite
I
era?
kind of like in the after all the published lore, because that made me feel like I had more building blocks to play with.
Okay,
So for
yeah, that's
that
fair.
reason, I kind of like that part. So I basically played through from 576 onwards over 40 years, but not in high detail. The first years we skipped, and we played some, maybe some years 100 sessions, some years 10,
Yeah,
but we played a little bit and with different gaming groups over the years, and it hasn't been that organized more than the last 20 years. I've been organized, kept time records, and been way more organized the last 20, 25 years.
yeah,
So that's when it really took shape, and my play style consolidated, so to speak. And
yeah.
that's when as my map developed too, because then I got a good understanding of the setting, and now I feel like I understand the setting in a way I didn't do before. So
Yeah,
that
that
makes
makes a
it
lot of
much more,
sense.
yeah, it makes it much more possible. The stories are deeper now. I can tie into history. I can do all sorts of cool stuff with it.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. Like, yeah, I really like that. For me, I just like for me, I don't care what era I'm in, but I do. The
Hmm.
reason why I kind of gravitate to 576 is because I like that. I like that era of when the temple is starting to, kind of the aftermath of the Battle of Emery
Hmm.
Meadows and all that. I think it's a very interesting period. And I
And
kind
then
of
you
go
have all
over.
the cool stuff. You can make your own version of all the stuff that have happened. So I wasn't smart enough to realize that I can play with it even if it hasn't happened in my campaign. But
Yeah,
now I realize that no, I can. I don't. I can. So in some ways, it would be cool to go back, but I feel I can't. So my campaign, I'm stuck with what I've got, and I have to
yeah, yeah.
develop forward, so to spep. But
So you're stuck in 599, which
yeah.
is awesome. It's funny. I ran a campaign in 620, and where I kind of there was a elemental kind of anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, I mean, we can do
Angel
anything.
Monk,
I've heard.
thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
I
Oh,
got a new
Agile, thanks
patron.
so much, dude.
Thank you.
Mission
Yeah.
accomplished. So much.
Mhm.
I'm really glad for it. That's super awesome. Thanks, Agile. There is a question from Dreg I want to get to
Mhm.
really quick,
Yeah.
but you know, I feel like, you know, we talked about it a little earlier, and you know, Greyhawk is so open ended that I could,
Mhm.
you know, I've talked to people that have done like time warp stuff where they're
Yeah.
back
But that's
in
part
the
of the appeal with
300s.
Greyhawk. It has enough white spaces that you
Yeah.
can fill in with the cool stuff you want, so to speak. Because I think that's the whole point of using a setting is the building blocks you use to to make your story with, so to speak.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
So now we have Dreg's question here. Yeah.
Yeah, Drake's question. Yeah, sorry, I get a little sidetracked. Thanks for
Hmm.
reeling me in there, Anna.
Yeah.
So Anna and D'Angelo, to what extent is Greyhawk like Europe or mythical Europe? What else comes to
That's
mind?
interesting because thematically, when it comes to culture and stuff, it's definitely a lot of European influence with knights and all that European history, feudalism and stuff like that. But they also a lot of other stuff. You have the old Flan and you have Olmans and others who are. I see them very different from. They're not definitely not European in influence, so to speak. I in the years, I saw the Olmans were like the Indo or the Mesoamericans and stuff like that. The Beklunish were like the Middle East
Yeah,
and so on and so forth. But now I use them as vague inspirations, and now they've taken on more their own shape, so to speak. But I see you have the old Flan. I see them very much like the first colonizers of Europe, so to speak. The first ones
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah, yeah,
Homo sapiens who came, who were now we know because we know their DNA. We know that they had blue eyes, but they still had dark skin. So they were like Africans with blue and green eyes
yeah,
often.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so I
yeah,
see them very much as some sort of they're the new ones who found the Neanderthals and stuff like that. So they are.
yeah.
I see them culturally more like those people that we don't know their culture, but
That's
that's some of the
interesting.
that's some of the ideas. And then you have others. So I take inspiration from that, so to speak. And then you have the Bekluni is different in the West, so to speak. So in some ways, it's of course it's like Europe in reverse. You have the
Yeah,
East and the West as well, but geographically, it's not functions. It doesn't function like Europe. It much more functions like China. Geographically, it functions like China because the Flanese geography is shielded from the rest of the world by mountains and deserts and badlands and stuff like that. So it's the rest of the world is geographically far away and difficult to access.
yeah,
And that is not Europe because Europe the one of the reasons I think that Europe became prominent in during the Roman age and then later on after the medieval times was that Europe had so many connections.
yeah.
Europeans got a chance to learn from people from all over the world. So it
Whereas the
was
Asian side was more kind
yeah,
of,
yeah.
yeah,
China developed their own empire
connected.
early, but then they stagnated in some ways. And I think that the reason that Europeans were early on catching on with industrialism and technical development and cultural development was that they were exposed to so many others influences. They took ideas and influences from all over. And the Flanese reminds me much more of China in that sense geographically because it's much more isolated. Meaning in China
Yeah,
you have the Himalayan plateau, you have big jungles, mountains, and deserts, and the Gobi and whatnot. So the rest of the world is really far away, and
yeah,
the Flanese geographically is much more reminiscent of China than Europe in that sense.
yeah,
And and that's what I like. Yeah, exactly. The you have the Baker people, the Celts, and stuff like that. So those are you can use. I use a lot of inspiration ideas from that, and then I try to forget the real references, so to speak, because I don't see it as European, and it doesn't. There's some, of course, some similarities. You have the Great
similarities. Yeah,
Kingdom that could be like the Roman Empire that fell apart and stuff like that, but those are superficial. And Greyhawk had such a rich and diverse and sometimes mesmerizing, difficult publishing history over 40 years. Like,
Yeah.
it's a setting that has lived on for like 50 years in one shape or the other now. Or, yeah, about 50 years. So
Yeah.
it's been so complicated and difficult, and there's been backs and forth and whatever. So that gives you a real cool tapestry to and a lot of building blocks to play with. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of the assets without being overburdened, because it's not more material that you can actually read through almost all of it in a couple of years. It's like
Mm.
doing your doctorate or a master's degree or something like that if you read
It's
through it. So,
yeah, you've got to, yeah.
so
Wow.
and now it's digestible. There's forums about it. There's Greyhawk Wiki. You can buy PDFs of almost all the material on Drive Through RPG,
Yeah.
and etc. So and you can buy it on eBay or go to some of the big game stores
And,
that have used stuff. Yeah.
and we're lucky too, because there's so much fan content too.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to,
Yep.
like, I mean,
Yep.
Cannon Fire, we talk about Canon, you were talking about that earlier. I mean,
Exactly. You can. Yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
just one site that
Yep. Yep.
obviously is a
Mm-hmm.
treasure trove
Mm-hmm.
of information. And then you
Yeah.
have all the fanzines, Visions of
Yeah.
Greyhawk
Yep.
and
And then we have Wizard of the Coast who are now cranking out new stuff. They have an Adventures League, the Greyhawks.
yeah.
They're playing in Greyhawk and stuff. But that's kind of I would say watered down is the wrong word, because what I love about, I mean, it's not for me. It's I bet I would love to sit down and play some games of that, but that's not the way I want to run Greyhawk. But that doesn't mean it's wrong the way they do it, because
Yeah.
they are great in onboarding a new generation of Greyhawk players
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
can come to a convention and play some cool stuff. They
Yeah.
don't have to know anything about Greyhawk. They just sit down, get a character, roll it up, and
Yeah. And you don't have
play
to know
some fun.
anything about Greyhawk if you don't
Exactly.
want.
You just have
Yeah.
fun and you hear these place
Yeah.
names, and most of them will probably just treat it, oh, that was a cool game and that was it. But there
Yeah.
will be some who will start
Dive
remembering and
deep.
hearing these names and start, oh, this is cool. I want to do no more. And then they will find out that there's a rich history in this and there's a lot of
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Start reading. Yeah.
Yep. So I can already tell that there are a new gender. So I'm very grateful that Wizard of the Coast doing this. Meaning it's not for me, and it's not how I want to run games, and
Yeah.
it's not the rules I'm really keen on. But it's a great way to reach out to way more people outside of the Greyhound community, because we can be a bit insular and sit here as old scholars with gray
Yeah.
hair and
Yeah.
played way too long and
it's
stuff like that.
it's
So,
funny. Last night on the stream last night, I heard one person that was on the panel with you was talking, and she was saying how she was intimidated at first,
mhm.
and,
Yep.
and you hit on a really interesting subject, because we don't think that, because we know it. You know
But
what I mean?
it's hard. But on the other hand, we have played so long. We have thick skin. We've done all the mistakes and the screw ups and stuff. We want to nerd out in this. But if you're a beginner and stuff, it can be very intimidating. And
Yeah, and I
yeah,
didn't realize that until last
yeah,
night when
yeah.
I heard her
So
say
I
that. I'm
think
like,
it's really important to onboarding, meaning this is rich, cool stuff, and I see it as a treasure chest or like building blocks that you can use. If you're a new player and a new DM, just pick a cool spot, run some adventures, have fun, or run the classics. Don't
yeah,
worry about
can't
setting
go
up
wrong
your
with the
own
classic.
campaign. Just run Temple of Elemental Evil, the Giant series, and Hommlet and all that stuff. Play it, have fun with it, and
Yeah.
then forget about it. That might be all of Greyhawk that you need or want. Or
Yeah.
you might be the beginning of half a century of exploring a world with your
And then
buddies. So to speak.
and then you'll start making maps.
Exactly.
GIS
Yeah.
maps.
So there is the whole gamut from one to the other. And
Yeah.
Greyhawk has something for everybody in that sense. And so I'm
Yeah.
glad that Wizard of the Coast now is
Yeah,
catering to that group
it's a
too.
good thing. I think
Yeah.
it's a good thing. I'm like you, and I'm not a big partaker, I guess, in organized play.
Oh, me neither. I played
I
a lot of Pathfinder organized play, like when I moved to
Interesting.
California,
Okay.
because first of all, Pathfinder was the big game back then. That was 4th edition era.
Yeah.
And so Pathfinder was the big thing, and I played a lot of third edition D&D, so I liked Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And so I played a lot of, and it was also a way for me to find new gaming buddies and get introduced into the gaming community here. So I played a lot of that for a decade, and used Pathfinder as my rule set for about 10 years.
For 3E.
For my Greyhawk campaign. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you do so? Because you are out in California, and for those of you guys that don't know, I'm in Montana now, but I actually grew up in California. And
a few miles
where
Anna's
at. Where Anna's at. I wasn't actually far from her. I mean, obviously, I didn't physically meet you until Paige. We've been talking on Discord for a while, but did you ever go to the Strategicon?
I've been to.
Did you really?
Or 4 Strategicons, I think. Yeah, 4 of them, I think.
Oh, okay, because.
I've stayed. I've been to the whole convention, and then I've only been gone for like a day. I've been on Friday or Saturday. Day ticket, drove down this like 40 miles or something from where I live.
It's close enough to you where you could drive for.
It's like usually it's been at one of the big hotels near LAX, I think.
So that's funny because I was just at Orcon last week. It was that was because Strategicon, for those of you guys that don't know, it's a convention that's in El Segundo, Los Angeles, kind of by LAX, and it's a 3-con series. So there's Orcon, GameX, and a Gateway, and they all happened on President's Day weekend, Memorial weekend, and Labor Day weekend. I actually just put a video out on the con report. I was there. I went for one day, and I ran. I went for Boot Hill. I try to go 2 times a year to one of the two of the 3, and that's interesting. So you were there around the 4E era. Is that when you were?
Oh yeah, I think I went there the first time like 2012. And then I was there.
We probably were there because I was through that whole thing.
14, 16. I haven't been there since 2018 or something, or 2019. Okay. Not since COVID, so to speak. I haven't been to Strategicon or Orcon but I went like every other year or something like that. I went down there, I usually pick one of them and
go.
Yeah,
it's funny. So around that era, 2012, that was when 4E was really big, and they had a really big 4E tournament presence there. They would do. I was one of the DMs for a lot of the big tournaments and I don't know if they were Wizard sponsored or not, but there was one.
They were to some degree.
I think they were. I can't remember what they called it for 4E, but we had some where I think we had 120 players one time, and it was. Where you had 16 tables, and they all kind of were doing a very coordinated thing.
They had both
to get to the next round.
They had 4E and Pathfinder. So Paizo had
and Pathfinder had a big presence there too. Yeah. That was pretty big. That's interesting that you were doing Pathfinder and 3E.
It was funny. I had my first mapping seminar at a convention was at Strategicon back in 2013, I think it was.
Wow!
And I prepped myself like crazy, and I think there was like 8 people or maybe 10 who came, and they came in because it was like fantasy cartography. None of them had heard about me. None of them had heard about Greyhawk. and they looked at my maps and stuff, and they yawned. And I think one person asked a question, and half of them walked out before the end of the
Okay.
So I was like, I should probably never ever do this again. And now it's kind of funny because now when I go to a convention, I usually fill a room of 100, and I sell out, and I usually run a 2-hour seminar, and I get like 30-40 questions, and it's amazing. So don't give up just because the first one is lousy. Don't give up. Keep at it.
Well, I will say that because I go to now been to some of the ones on the East Coast. I call it the East Coast, but you have the Strategicon. It's a kind of a different crowd.
It's a lot of comics and various stuff.
Miniatures.
Exactly.
I go there for a lot of the miniatures.
Some board games and some war gaming and stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of card games like Magic and stuff too.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's funny that you were there.
I had so many gaming buddies when I moved here that I started playing with that they went to the convention, so I went with them.
I met a lot of people there that I still game with today. So as far as the Greyhawk, we talk about, we were kind of talking about what you're doing in it. What is your kind of favorite rich? I mean, what's your favorite area in Greyhawk? Well, I mean, you were kind
Right
of
now,
getting
it's the shield lands. I usually
okay,
switch every 10 years or so.
yeah.
So
And I know a little bit of inside info on the Shield Lands.
yeah. So
I
it
won't
was
say it.
yeah. So it was the when I and it was interesting. I picked the shield lands because I wanted it when I wanted to make my new generation of maps. When I started planning that, it was about 10 years.
Yeah,
That then I needed an area. I wanted an area that was basically an empty. That was nothing about the geography. And
yeah.
so I wanted something that was a challenge in that sense that were almost nothing there. So I
And
want
it's
and
true. The Shield
yeah,
Lands is pretty
yeah,
barren.
because
You have to
on
really
the
fill in
Darlene map is
blanks.
just empty green hexes. That's it. That there's
Yeah,
nothing there. It's like Shieldland is just a green area of hexes,
yeah.
and there's divided by two rivers, and then the Rift Canyon something
I
on
think
the side.
Living Greyhawk fleshed it out a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly. There was, but there were only place names. There were and a few little rivers, but there were
Yeah.
no details, no hill names or nothing. So it was geographically a challenge in that sense. What do you fill these? What is it like 20,000 square miles or something like that of an area with something? And my current map, it's not much more to go by because it's like a green little blob up there too. So it's not much more than that. So that was the and also I started reading of the history and I realized this is an interesting place. It's on the borderlands of Ayus and Ayus conquered most of it and stuff. So I was like, this is cool. You have good and evil and so
Yeah, they
sterile
took they
from
took the
geographic.
brunt of
Yeah.
AUs for
So
sure.
so I started mapping it and I started reading it in detail and I started coming up with my campaign as a way to keep me focused there, so to speak. So then and those are some of my earliest maps, sample maps I did for my campaign and stuff. So
Yeah,
so
let
so
me bring this out
yeah,
for
that's my little startup village. If you zoom in, there's a village in there. Yeah, there on the left, there you can see the houses there. That's the 3D view. There you go. That's my Aldet, my little village or
yeah.
little town that was there. And then you
Yeah,
have the
sorry,
top down there.
my graphics card's probably not coming in
Oh,
very
it's okay. It's
yeah.
yeah. So that
But
was my and here you have the yeah some other maps. So I mapped out the area. These were the early maps I used, so to speak, and there you can see it a bit more detail there. So
yeah.
that was the village. We played in on this map for 5 years. We did
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
65,
I can see
70
that here.
sessions. So yeah, that was it. And I've done some more detail. I've mapped every house and basements and the whole shebang. So we played in that village for some years and played
Is
like
this a
60 sessions.
different angle on each of them? Like
Oh
kind of
yeah.
yeah.
It's. I just took screenshot. I have it in full 3D. There you can zoom in a bit more detail.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
you
there you
go.
see. Yeah, so you can see the
It looks like that's
buildings and
on an
stuff.
elevation over
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
a plateau.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's on the. It's like a defensible little place there, so to speak.
Yeah.
Then it was a little stopover on the road between Radagast and Critwall. That was how it came to be originally, so to speak. It's
God,
like
that's
a pass
so
between the
amazing.
hills. Yeah. So
And then
so
you
that
got and
yeah
then you got a screenshot of your
yeah
yep,
that's
okay,
the
I see that.
same
Yep.
map and same area. So these were the early screenshots, and I used maps of I had the whole area within up to about 100 miles from this mapped out, and we played on that for about yeah for about 6 years, and then I we moved to Critwall and we moved around more than 100 miles away. So yeah.
There's some roads. I see roads and all. Okay, there we go.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, is this all done in Photoshop? Is that what you
Yeah,
were?
I added some Photoshop stuff on top of it, so to speak, and
Yeah.
then the so that is just my first attempt to take the height data and just put it in Photoshop and sketch the
Yeah.
buildings on top of it. So and then I made the build, and these are some of the early work that I did in World Machine to get it there. And now I realize I put 2 years of work to do one area. Now I can do an area in a couple of days. And the first one,
Wow.
yeah, the prototypes took a few years to figure out how to do. And
That's what you call progress.
yeah,
Yeah.
and now
Technology progress.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So once you figure out how to do it, so now I've
Yeah.
done the whole country, and then that was from that little village, and then this the first city map, so to speak,
Yeah.
that I did. So yeah.
I love the color and the texturing of this. This
Thank
is
you. Yeah, it's kind
crit
of
wall.
it's slightly symbolic, but also very photoreal in some degree. So you can
Yeah.
get the feel of what it
And
is.
you
So
can
yeah.
really kind of zoom down into this. I know
Mhm.
this is probably a screenshot, so I probably
No, it's the
I'm
full
not doing it
resolution map.
justice,
No,
but
yeah, you do. It looks like that. So yeah, it looks
nice.
perfect. Yeah. Oh,
Love
just
it.
it looks as good as the images, and the image
Yeah,
is
this is really
far
good.
perfect. Yeah, and there you
That's
can see the
1,000 feet,
distance in
1
feet and
mile. Okay,
miles.
got
And
it.
yeah.
Very nice. This is another, God, look at the detail there. You could really do a good city campaign in here. Yeah. Crit wall. Woo. And then there's
Yeah,
your
and
cover
then
of
you can
this.
see that you can
That's
yeah
a great view of it.
yeah, the top view is what it looks like from the river, from the top image
Yeah,
there.
I see that.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that's what it looks
Oh my
like
God.
from you can see the big temples and stuff. And that's the cool thing when you have the map data, you can just tilt it, put it in Photoshop, and it becomes accurate depiction of it. So you can
God,
see
look at that.
what
That's so
each
cool.
building and stuff look like. So you can tell them when you come with the on the boat, this is what the city looks like.
I love it. The perspective is so
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
And it's also a way for me to test that the design of the city planning actually works. They build it
Yeah.
up on that mesa. This is I did for Eastern Marsh. It's for Game Hall Publishing. It's for their organized play, a map I did for them.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have not seen this one.
Yeah, no, it's for Game Hall Publishing, the Eastern Marches campaign. They started it last year. But we have a question from Drake here.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
said, let me put his up. Yeah, Drake,
yeah.
thanks for helping there. Um, isn't Knight Commander Homer an interesting name since it's been a topographical moniker for those living on inhabiting an island, but also those who make helmets?
Yeah, it's Shieldlands is an interesting mix between a fantasy version of the Wild West and also the old knight trope of an armored knight on horse and lances and stuff like that. And so
Yeah,
it's the story of valiant gallant knights, corruption, uh, frontline service, and it has a really cool history with dragons, Vecna. You have and there's always a bunch of cool touchdowns, old flam stuff, and yeah. So there's a surprising amount of nuggets in the Shield history, and they are nuggets because they're not that detailed. They're just tiny
it's
reference. You have to
just
almost
small nuggets.
yeah,
Yeah,
you have to
you
read
have to
between
really
the
use your
lines.
imagination.
Yeah.
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 That's what I say it all the time. That's what I really love about I
hmm
don't need pages and pages and pages of detail. I could fill in
Yeah.
most of it. Give me
hmm
a nugget and I'll run
Yep.
with it.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
you can make your own version of it. So yep.
Yeah. So here's
Thank
now
you,
I'm
Christopher.
familiar
Yep.
with this.
hmm
This is
Yep.
your now current version, right?
Yeah, that's the one of the later versions of the
Yeah, this is
current
the
map.
one.
Yeah. You have the false
Bissell,
gap between Ket
Ket.
and Bissell and Viluna there with Thornword and stuff. Yep.
And this is so like I know that we won't get totally, but I mean this is somewhere it's something that blows me away, and just how you're able to kind of discern what the peaks
You
look
can
like
yeah, you can
and
get a basic idea of the geography. And
yeah,
the new generation of maps, you will get a detailed view down to what you can use in an adventure.
yeah,
So this is the strategic map, but the new generation map you can also use as an adventure map.
yeah,
You can take a piece of it, put it in the BTT, and run a battle of it. I've done
yeah,
that many times in my latest, and it works really well. So that's the yeah.
yeah, yeah. The and then here's another that's I mean we're all familiar with this.
Yeah. hmm
This is your current map that you have, and this is actually the one I use for
Okay.
my
Yeah.
campaign. And like I was talking about earlier, the one I showed was the 2022 version. This is more. What are you calling this one exactly? Like, what version is this?
I don't know. You have to go down and watch. If you see the whole map, there's a.
Well, it's called the Flyness 576 sample.
Oh, sample. That is the 22 version. Yep.
This is the 22 version, but
Yep.
you got more. You got more geography in this one.
There's and then this is also my campaign version. So there's more stuff. It's from my campaign, so it's more stuff on it. Yep.
And this is literally where my campaign is right now, is here in Highport.
So if you look at some areas I've added, not so much in Pomarsh. I haven't been there much lately. So
yeah. Oh, you mean like where are you at right now?
Gold Celine has some more stuff, and this is a very early version of my, but there's a little bit more I added in there. So it's an old version of my campaign map.
Yeah, this has got a place in my campaign.
That's from Jay's campaign, I think. Talani.
I've actually incorporated that because she is found. I think she is one of the people that are found in the Temple of Elemental Evil. I think she's one of the captives, or something like that. Yeah. So. Yeah, this is a great. I mean, I think most of us are familiar with it because I use this for, love it. God, so good.
And these are ideas for handout maps. I did parchment versions of stuff that you can use as handouts. And stuff. I made a whole series of them so people can.
So are you working on any commissions right now? Are you? I know.
Yes, I'm working on a commission for Luke Gygax and Wizards.
Yes. Okay. For the one that he actually told me about what I know. We're not supposed to talk too much about it, but he actually told me.
You can talk. I'm under NDA, so you can talk all you want.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't signed an NDA, you can talk.
Yeah, well, he actually gave me a specicic thing that I could talk about.
Okay, perfect.
It has, he said me and him. Well, when I was in LA,
I think the title is out. So yeah.
Yeah. He was talking about the Middle Earth, Greyhawk's Guide to Melf, and
Melf's Guide to Greyhawk.
Melf's Guide to Middle Earth.
I'm not sure if that's going to be. That's the working title. So
I don't know what they're going to title it, but it's something that'll something that he was saying is going to come out in 2027. And I know he mentioned you doing the map work for it, and a couple other people involved in it. I don't want to get too deep because a lot of it will be announced.
Team on cool stuff, and then me as well.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you is because I see in the another question that came in is are you doing any other? Do you have any room right now for any kind of for any other projects?
In 2028, I'm booked until probably the end of 2027.
Got it. Okay. Wow. You are busy. Holy moly.
That's the thing. Publishers come to me say I usually have a pipeline of 2 years before I can take on something. And the reason for that is that I normally don't work on commissions more than half time at best because my patrons pay me so well. So I want to keep feeding them with stuff. Yeah. So I work at least. And the good thing with the project I'm doing for Luke and Wizards, that ties into my Patreon stuff. So it's kind of a
that's pretty awesome.
So in that way, it's convenient because that will benefit my patrons down the line as well because there will be a lot of crossover there. But then
that is so awesome for you.
And then I have another go at Gamehole publishing stuff for their that will be from the summer and onwards the fall. I have a small commission in between there, and I've also worked on things for GaryCon as well. A little bit that's early, but that's done now. So almost 90% done at least. There might be a follow up, a little bit corrections and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's So it's usually that's the problem for a lot of publishers. They come to me and say, "Oh, can you do that?" and think that I can start right away, but I tell them that no, normally it's at least a year, usually 2 years. And most of my projects, they go from 6 months to a year, sometimes a little bit longer.
That's pretty, that's so good. And I'm really happy for you. That's super
Thank
cool.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so awesome. It's going to be just kind of crossover stuff. So everybody wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but down the line, I want to do more for my Patreon simply because they pay better and they also let me work and take the time, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's the best with my patrons. They're a very patient bunch, so to speak,
Yeah.
which is awesome because because a lot of the stuff I'm doing is takes a long while, and then when it comes out, I can once a big project is done. I mapped the shield lands. It's taking me 5 years to figure out and done. Now it will probably take me about 6 months to get the terrain out, basically, and then start building and doing the actual cartography stuff on top in next year. So,
are you gonna do a 3D map for that too?
Oh yeah, that's all 3D.
Yeah, it's all 3D.
Yeah, that's all 3D, cool. 5 feet per pixel, and the whole shebang. So I will make the whole terrain and stuff during this year, and then next year I can do deep dives and do interesting places, locations like I did Crit Wall and stuff. So so that, but I'm also developing the terrain for City of Greyhawk. So that's coming because I can't resist. I have to do the city, but I haven't felt that I've been good enough and had the skills to really tackle it until now. So now I'm starting to do the groundworks, literally.
What are you using? What map are you using for a reference for City
of Greyhawk? I will base it on Gary's model of the city.
Okay, yeah.
Not the TSR version, but I will put everything that is in the TSR version. I will put it in my
take. So you're going to do all the different quarters?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then fill in the buildings.
It will look better than Crit Wall that you just looked at.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, it will look better than Crit Wall. And it will not only be the city, it will be everything 100 miles in every direction.
Yeah, wow.
In the same,
you're going to go all the way up to the hills and...
it will be the whole domain, basically. Yeah.
Wow, that is super cool. Yeah, so you're... wow, so you're going to...
So it will be.
So you're basically going to be mapping out this whole area right here.
Yeah, maybe not that much. In the first goal will be the city and the next 50.
And then
miles
this vicinity right here.
Yeah. From near Dub to Hardby, roughly. That's the idea, to map the cylinder and that core area around the city. That's the first, and then we'll go from there. And it also depends if the new version of Gaia is as good as I hope it will be. That will speed up things.
Well, that's going to be really cool to have a concise, accurate map for the city of Greyhawk.
Might not be to everybody's taste, but I think it will be a cool model and version of the city. It will be hopefully something that would have made Gary proud and made him happy.
Yeah.
Seen it.
So you're going to go Gary's route instead of the box set TSR.
Yes. I like Gary's version of the city. I will make my version, but I will base it and make an homage to Gary's version of the city.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
That's a funny, thing that I like to kind of, the funny thing about the Greyhawk community is we're so, everybody's got their preference of certain things. You'll hear from I like the map from the box set, or I like
exactly.
Yeah, that's super, super cool. Let me go to some more. I keep going on here. Okay, here's your 2019.
That was I did and this I did for there's some other commissions and stuff in there. So
other commissions,
okay.
Oh, and the islands. I was going to ask you about the island stuff. So
this was my very first Patreon project. That's why I put it in there. That was my first proper 3D project. So so it was early stuff, but I did it back here. And this is Per Bastet. That's the city from Midgard setting. That was my very first city map. I didn't do the design of the city, but I did the map. So that was
this is really nice too.
Yeah, that was my very first city map that I did as part of the Midgard. And this is the South
Midgard low res.
Map. Yep. Yeah. And then there's some screenshots from the Midgard. I did them over a period of 10 years from like 2014 to 2024, something like that.
This was Global Press, that's right.
Yep. Midgard. No, maybe not 10 years, but 7 or 8 years, from like 2012 to 2020 or something like that. So
God.
And
I can't wait to see the 3D maps. It's going to be super, super cool.
So that was my first forte. And here is the first map I did for the area. If you zoom in on this one, you should be able to get some. That one you can zoom in on.
Oh
And
God, my computer is.
it will take a while for. I mean, it will load, and eventually you will be able to zoom in.
Yeah.
It will. It needs to load a bit, and that's the first sample I used for the first year of my Greyhawk, my Shieldlands campaign.
Got it.
So
Yes, there we go.
Yeah,
There we
there
go.
you go. Yeah, so this one you can zoom in. So that's the new standard of Greyhawk map.
Yeah.
And you zoom in there where you are.
Oh, here's your
you have the
content
little
for
town.
the Shieldlands.
Yeah. So you have the little
Ah.
town we looked at is there. If you zoom in where you start, where you had the mouse, see if you can find it. It's the same terrain, a little bit north of there. Go north just a little bit. There you go. Zoom in. Keep zooming in. And a little bit to the right. To the right and a little bit south. There you go. Zoom in, and go south. A little bit south, just south of the river. A little bit south. A little bit more. Slightly more. Zoom out a little bit. You missed it. I think it's on the right there. Yep. And then go back in. Up. Left. Go a little bit left. There you go. Zoom in.
There you go.
Yep. There it is. Yep. There it is. So I use that. That was the map I use in VTT. So you can basically go from there, and if you go east, there's some other little villages, and there's a town to the east and stuff on this map too. So you have there's another little town. You can follow the road, and yeah. So if you go from the village, you can actually follow the road. There you go. So
let's do that.
Yeah, follow that road.
Oh, the yellow brick road.
And there's some forks in the road and stuff. There's some ugly little bits where I had to put together the pieces. I didn't know how to get them perfect before in the beginning.
No, this looks super cool. I mean, this is so great.
Yeah, so you can actually follow the.
And you got it
so follow that one. Yep. So you follow that one. It's about 5 miles along this road.
Yeah, so these are the black marks or what on this?
Yeah, these are I think it's a mile, each square is a mile. No, those are latitude, longitude. The white ones are like
the white ones
a mile each square, I think.
Oh, really? So
or
that's
something
pretty,
like that. You can see that on the border, so to speak. But yeah. But if you
so the whites are 1 square and then
I think they're square mile if I remember correctly. I think so. Yep.
Wow. So this is detailed down pretty.
It's 5 feet per pixel. Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep. So you go down and you can see the individual trees and stuff there, and then continue that a little bit further. No, the other way. Go right. Yeah. Those are trees, but
wow, that is going to be amazing to get to that detail.
Yeah, and then you continue a little bit, and you have the next little town comes here in a little bit. Yeah, continue. Probably about a quarter of a mile left. Yeah, there we go. Now you're almost there. Nope, continue, and there we come to. There's the next little village
with the bridge and wow.
Yep. And then you continue another quarter of a mile or about a mile east, and then you have a bigger town on that one.
Wow.
Yeah. So you continue even.
So this blows me away. So this is actually going to be. You're going to go to this detail.
Yeah.
This. I don't even know. I don't even know what the proper term is, but you're going to go to.
I call it porta potty scale because each pixel is a porta potty in size. That's a good reference so people can understand how big a pixel is.
Yes. Oh my God. This is, and there you go. There's your city. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not. I can render it way better. This was. I didn't render it properly. So yeah.
And my computer is not. It's probably
No, but it doesn't look better on any computer. But these were my earliest map. I used my own camera.
Yeah.
The new crit wall.
So you'll be able to zoom down to an even different level.
You go to the crit wall map. That's how good they will look. Yeah. Or better. Yeah.
That's so crazy. That level of detail is absolutely unreal.
Yeah, so you can.
So I can just imagine. And
there's some other cool places. There's some hidden little castles.
Do you remember what this is right here?
That's the
in the Shieldlands.
Yeah, it's the Dellard. It's a town of Dellard.
Dellard. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I invented that town. I invented little Oldet, the little village we started.
I've heard you talking
about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there are articles where I describe the history and the background of it and the heraldry and all that, so to speak.
Are these guys, and you probably have heraldry for it too, are these guys probably fishermen type of?
Oh yeah, it was, yeah, that's primarily what they did, and yeah,
Yeah.
so they fished in and out both in the river upstream and they also transported goods from inland
Yeah.
shieldlands out to the
There'd be
nearby
trade routes from here. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It was the river delta was hard to navigate, so it was small transport to Crickball and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you
Yeah.
take the bottom, you can see the scale and stuff on the map. So this, yeah, at the
Yeah. There you
bottom, I
go.
think
Okay. There
I
it
think
is.
in the
Yeah.
bottom you can have the scale and stuff there. So yeah, yeah,
Wow.
15 by 50 miles.
Anna,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
And realize that map is 1/4 of one hex on the Darlene map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
and
a
each
portion of the
Darlene
hex.
hex is 4 times that size.
Yeah. Are you gonna hex it, or are you gonna do in grids like this?
No, I will the new map. I will use the double grid. It will be a white grid for distance reference, and then there will be a black grid with the latitude longitude. I
Yeah.
might do hex versions of a hex overlay as well for people who love hexes, and so that might be I can put in overlays of any kind, so to speak. But the way I like it is that you have this is with my early tests, so to speak. So I
Yeah.
just came up with it. These are my very first GIS based maps that I put in that are actually 3D in GIS. So now I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And the Critwall map is way more detailed. So, but these were my early tests.
Yeah.
So
This is
I've
really
learned so
cool.
much, and that was one of my early maps that I did just
The islands. Yeah.
to
This is
figure out.
this
Yeah,
is for a Patreon.
yeah, that was my very first Patreon project back 9 years ago. Yeah,
Yeah. God.
and these are some of the maps that I took the current map and turned it into other styles,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to see
Different
if I
style
can
map.
do that too. Yeah,
Hmm.
and these are more of my island projects, and yeah, spread maps kit. That was I have a spread map kit of the. So these are layered Photoshop files that you have, so you can do color overlays and stuff like that on it. So if you want to do
Yeah.
your and this was a little like an encounter map that I did in Photoshop.
Yeah.
That was for a commission, and that's another one. I did some local area maps too. So those trees are just done in Photoshop.
Yeah.
and
This
and
is really good.
so
Yeah.
it was, yeah, and to be honest, I like to do not generic maps of a location. I want to make a world, so to speak. That's my thing. So there are many others who are much better than me at doing these generic locations that you can just slide into wherever you want.
Yeah. Wow, Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the end of that slide deck. You know,
Hmm.
God, that's
Yeah.
so crazy. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing those 3D kind of. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's where I think that's where the technology's kind of taken. You know, is
I mean,
people
I
like.
want a world viewer. In 10 years time, I can envision you have a world viewer, so you can literally put tokens, and instead of having a VTT that emulates a game table, you have that is not a virtual tabletop. You have a virtual
Yeah,
world where you can put your
that makes
token.
a lot of sense. Yeah,
So you, instead of having generic locations, you have that is the location in the world. You can put a house there, and you can the tokens, you put them around and you set up, and so you can kind of, you have geographical locations, so each location is unique and stuff. So that's what I'm creating the data for, so to speak. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, wow.
Yeah, and print maps. That's one of the things that I want to. Meaning, I did a GIS based map uh, for digital use. That was the first one. I hope that I can this summer. I'm going to sit down and do a series for print use. So the current
Mm,
map will be so you can print them on. My goal is to set up a series of 24 by 36, because 24 by 36 is a common format that you can go to any digital copy print shop and they can do 24 by 36. So I think I will, and you can get them for like 30-40 bucks, something like that, less than 50. So they're manageable in price too. So I will make a series of Greyhawk maps, the latest version GIS based, that will be set for print. So the text sizes and symbols and stuff like that will be the size you can actually read it once it's printed.
Wow.
So that is so the current map is for digital use, but the next map will be a series for print. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty awesome. You know, we're almost at the 2 hour mark, and
Yeah.
we didn't even get into the heraldry, which I
No,
want to
we
do that.
didn't get
I'll
the
have to have you
heraldry. We
back.
didn't talk about the rules. We didn't talk. There was so many other things we didn't talk about either. So
I
it's
know.
okay. Don't worry about it. We have plenty.
Well,
There will
we'll
be
have
more
to have
time.
you. If
I
you
would love to come on again.
you will. Yeah, I love, I think you and I could nerd out on
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
rules and factions and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff
Yeah.
too. You know, just absolutely amazing the work and the stuff that you've done for the community. If I had a hat on, I'd tip my hat to you.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
and I still feel like I haven't even asked you 90% of the questions I wanted to ask you, so you'll have to come back.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I before we do take off, guys, I do want to
Yeah.
give
Whatever questions you want to have in chat and stuff too. So yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if there's there is a question. I do want to, let's do the question first, and then I'll get over. Now I'm bringing up Jay's thing right now. So every year, kind of your partner that you're always on with, Jay Scott,
Yep.
is Lord Gasu, yep, is always doing and it's currently going on right now, the St. Jude's fundraiser event. So if you guys don't mind or are interested, that is the QR code for him, and his takes you to the telephony site, I think, where you can donate to St. Jude's. I think they're on the 8th year, right, of doing
I
this.
think so. Yeah, something like that. We will wrap. It was it went from like Wednesday night to Sunday, but it's still open, and we will wrap it up
for donations.
Yeah, exactly. And we will wrap it up on Wednesday. We will have our Legends and Lore show, because then we can go over the final tally. But we made over $35,000 this year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Roughly about 35. The goal last year, it's funny, when we started, we made 1,000 the first year, and then we made 2,000 the second year, and then we made 5,000 a year after. So we doubled it. But when we got to 12,000, we said we can't double it. Then we made 25,000, and then now we made 32,000 last year, and then we made. So now we say that our goal is to make to bring in more money, raise more money than we did last year. That's the goal every year. So we made that, and a couple of thousand more than last year. So thank you to everybody in the Greyhawk community who donated to this.
Yeah, and it's all for and it's all for a great cause for St. Jude's, and it really makes a big difference. And
there's a dozen streamers who run games and stuff like that over like 4 days. And had fun. So it's been a great fun. And my contribution is that I've helped out with designing the stuff there, and I was standing on a bunch of it, and I was on the end show and stuff. I watched it. So my role is very, very minute in the fundraiser. Jay is doing 80-90% of all the lifting, and then we have sponsors who give stuff, prizes and stuff like that. So
and that's all on Twitch. So look at Lord Gasumba on Twitch. And I think you guys, your next show is Wednesday night.
Yeah, we usually do 2 talk. Jay has a number of games. He has games on Thursday night, and then not every Saturday, but a lot of Saturdays he has Saturday games. And then we have 2 talk shows. So on Wednesday we have the Legends and Lore show, when it's Jay, Mike Bridges, and me. And that's when we talk about something Greyhawk related topic on Legends and Lore show.
I'm usually on there. Wednesday. Great talks.
And then on Sunday, Jay runs a Gavin show that I'm usually on as well. And then we bring up anything role-playing game related. Often we get into Greyhawk because we're both Greyhawk nerds, but then it's more like anything role-playing game related. We talk
anything,
workshops and whatever. So
kind of open-ended,
exactly, more open-ended, so to speak. So we run those talk shows every week, and I'm a co-host on both of them, so to speak. So,
that's super cool. So bringing up that, so I did bring that up, that QR code, you guys. So if you
want to send some extra help to the kids and St. Jude's, and raise our standards in the Greyhawk community, because we are high up on the leaderboard when it comes to who's giving the most, so to speak. I think
Who's
we've
giving?
given
Yeah.
close to, well, I think it was about $150,000 over those years.
It's way up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So what is that, over 8
Yeah.
years? So yeah.
And 100% of that goes going. No, it's not getting in
Oh yeah,
anybody's pockets. It's
exactly. And that's
100%
the
goes
good
to
thing
St.
with
Jude.
Tiltify. We don't touch the money at all. It goes
Yeah.
to St. Jude directly, and we just get notified. So, and that plugs into Twitch, which is cool because then each streamer can use those points that comes from the donations to hand out cool little extra perks during the game and stuff. So it's great. So
Yeah.
so people go to that site and donate the money, and we don't have to do anything about that. We just
Yeah.
get little information about it, and we can brag that we've been part of helping it happen, and we can get cool tokens that you can use in the game to help the players and do fun stuff in
Yeah.
the stream, so to speak. So in that way, it's great technique because we don't have to trust anyone with money or handle cards or anything like that, because that's done
Yeah.
by the charity that keeps the technical stuff with Tiltify. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super, super cool. Yeah. I told
Yeah.
you I would give a shout out and throw
Yeah.
something up there,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah.
think I think it's a really cool thing. And two more shout outs, and then we'll jump back to you.
Yeah.
Next Monday, I'm going to have Bunny Daniel and her husband Zane on here to talk about the newest Kickstarter they got coming out, Juskara, which is a Shadow Dark RPG. So this
Cool.
takes you to
Yeah.
the landing page for that. Really cool. I actually read the preview that she sent me for it and gave my feedback's not the right word, but anyway, so we're gonna have her on her and him on next week, next Monday,
Awesome.
to talk
Yeah.
about that. So that's gonna be kind of cool. So there's
Yeah.
the scan to that, guys. And I cannot fail to also talk about Castle Wolf Moon's Kickstarter. This will take you to
Oh,
that.
I never heard of that. Yeah.
So yeah, Castle Wolf Moon is Chris Clark and Gary Gygax's last collaborative project that they did together. It's, if you scan that and go to that, you can check it out. He is going to be kickstarting that in April. Yeah, check that out, guys. That's Castle Wolf Moon, which is from the 70s, and Gary did some contribution to that and was part of that. So we're looking forward to that. We'll be talking about that quite a bit. And yeah, so a little bit. I'll before we wrap here, guys. This Monday night, which we had Anna on, we just talked all about some maps and Greyhawk, and we're gonna have to have you back. By the way,
yeah, there's more.
Talk more, nerd out more on Greyhawk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This Thursday night coming up, guys, we have Alan Hammock jumping on here with Ignatius, and we're going to we have a roundtable discussion on that. We're going to be talking, so we'll see you then on Thursday. But yeah, that's it for this channel. But yeah, any party? Thank you so much, Anna. Like any parting thoughts?
This was fun. This is what I want to do on a Monday night or any night. This is awesome. Yeah. It's like,
it's funny.
I sit here and map places that don't exist and no one understands what I'm doing. And then when I go to a convention or go to a game night or do stuff like this, people understand what I'm doing, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the projects that you got coming up too, I'm really excited for them. Like I said, I don't want to talk too much.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's super cool. I mean, the amount of stuff that you've done with the community is just mind blowing. I just appreciate it.
It's a wonderful community to work for, so to speak, because I see the community are literally my employers and my bosses, so to speak.
Yeah.
So and that is something I can recommend to a lot of creators. Find a community you like and love, and then serve them, so to speak, and you will be rewarded, and it's great fun. And the good thing, if you do it like a model on Patreon and stuff, then you can take your time, you can work on things, you can ask for feedback, and over time people will start enjoying it and using it, and then you will get all the cool feedback you want that helps you get better, so to speak. And take your time and work for it. So yeah. So
Yeah.
there's so many communities, and Greyhawk community is a great one. There's so many cool things you can do. Meaning Greyhawk would need a librarian, for instance. There is some sites that do, but there's openings for all sorts of cool stuff you can do for stuff.
Yeah.
Meaning I tie into heraldry, mapping, and now the banners, and I will do milestones and stuff. But there's so many other cool stuff you can do.
God, we got to talk about the banners too. Like I'm excited for those. You know, I would love to see, and I'm not going to bring all that stuff up right now because I'm going to say that for another show, but with you. But I would love to see one of those lifelike banners on my wall.
Yes, exactly. That means that someone can actually produce that, print them on canvas or something cool. And we can print them on posters and stuff.
There's a guy
that crafting community can do cool stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you know, there's a guy, Dread Maps, and I got to get him on the show.
I met him at Page, and I'm one of his patrons, and he's great. Yep.
I'm gonna have him come on here. I'm actually getting him to do some stuff for me. But he would be a good person to do some of those the cloth kind of print those out on. If you that would be kind of interesting to see if you can
and
do
that's
something
the idea. That's why I'm doing them in Creative Commons, so you can do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you can take my designs and those things and make life versions or alter them and make your own version. That's the idea.
Yeah,
it's not something that I don't like or I begrudgingly let you do. No, that's the idea. I want you to the whole community to use the stuff, change it, mash them together, alter things so you get
use it for your own.
Exactly, and use it in your streams and your games and stuff like that. That's the idea.
All right. Well, Anna, thank you so much. Thank you so much again. Thank you. We'll get you back on here.
Yeah.
I'll see you Wednesday night when you're streaming with Jay, and look forward to the Legends and Lore episode. I think. What are you guys talking about this Wednesday?
We will talk about the D series that against the Giants.
The Giants series. Yeah, we're gonna.
First, we'll do a little wrap up of the fundraiser. And then we will dig into the D series. Yep.
I really like that. So anybody that's watching this, go to Twitch and look for Lord Gasumba. I'll probably put it in
on YouTube. They're all the old videos are on YouTube. So search for Lord Gasumba Greyhawk and
that'll
YouTube,
take you.
and you find years of stuff. We've done hundreds of these episodes.
Yeah.
And games and stuff and talk shows. So you can.
And they're always insightful too. So if you want to learn a little bit more about
we try to dig into, and we've had a lot of people on talking about all sorts of stuff. That we have Alan Growy, Eric Mona. We've had probably 50 people on that really know what they're talking. So we talking.
Yeah, there's some fan community there.
Exactly.
That knows
we had a lot of people who originally wrote stuff. We had Len Kafka on over 40 times. And we've had Roger E. Moore on 10 times and stuff. So we have really deep dived and talked to a lot of the original authors and tried to dig into as much as possible of what they wrote and stuff.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of stuff like that.
Ed Greenwood comes on there a lot too.
He games with us and comes on Sundays and talks stuff and so on, which is amazing. We have primarily been, and now I feel like, damn, why didn't I fall in love with Forgotten Realms? Now I'm friends with Ed Greenwood.
Yeah,
but anyway, it's so much fun. So
do you get starstruck when you get on with him there? Or?
Oh yeah, not anymore, because now we start feeling like a friend.
Yeah,
I met him at 10, 12 conventions. We hung out, we talked about things, and so on. And so forth. So now, but in the beginning, I was like, Ed talks to me. he recognizes me. That was like, wow.
I've seen a lot of the shows with him on there. They're great.
Yeah. I remember the first time Mike Merles recognized me. He was like at Eric Mona and stuff like that. I was like, oh, they talk to me. They recognize me.
And then you'll see him at cons or something.
Yeah. Now you hang out and you talk and you have fun and.
We are kind of coming to the end here. I do want to give you an opportunity to kind of plug your Patreon site again, and then tell us a little bit about what's up and coming for you on cons and stuff like that, where people can find you and see.
The next big thing is GaryCon.
Yeah.
I'm helping Luke and Bushra and Josh Pop and the others run GaryCon. So I'm on staff. So I'm helping them with various art graphics and stuff like that too. So that gives me a chance, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford, and I'm a special guest there too. So that's the reason I can go to convention, is that I pay my ticket, and then I get the hotel and the badge paid for. So that's wonderful, because that's the way I can get to them. So that's the next convention. After that, I'm going to Iowa for a convention, a new one, that Total Party Kill game in Waterloo in Iowa. It's a small convention that Total Party Kill Games, Brian Berg, have set up. I forgot the name of it, but it was the inaugural stuff. And we're going to hang out there and play games at the same time. So that was in May, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then I'm going to Gen Con this year. I'm going to work for Inkwell Ideas. I'm going to help them out in the booth. So that then I will be a booth helper, worker. Yeah. So, and it's fun. I've done that for 8 Gen Cons, and it's a great way to meet a lot of people in the RPG world, so to speak, and you get a chance to go to Gen Con. So I haven't been to Gen Con in 6 years now. So it's not 2019 was the last time.
Yeah, I haven't never been to Gen Con.
Yep. So I've been to 8 Gen Con. So then it's Gen Con, and then it's Gamehole Con, and then it's Page again early next year, and then it goes on from there. So yeah.
Got it.
Those are the convention circuit. So there will be a convention every 2-3 months this year. Like I used to go to like 6 conventions a year. So a convention every 2 months. Now it's one every roughly 3 months.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get propositioned you to come to Strategicon for a day if I'm.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. If you come,
I plan on going. I think in the Labor Day weekend one, which is in September. So
that sounds awesome. Yeah, definitely. I want to do that again. And if you come, I will definitely drive down there and spend a day.
Yeah, let's do it.
And go over the convention. Yeah. Oh, and Gamehole. Yes, I will definitely be at Gamehole, because I'm doing a commission for Gamehole Publishing this year. So I'm invited. I will be a guest there. I will run games. I will have a seminar. That's usually what I do when I convention. I have a seminar, usually a 2-hour seminar, but I go over my project, my maps, and stuff like that. And then I will run a game set in the Shield Lands with cool maps and stuff. And often, if I don't even have it, I will use the old-fashioned way. I have tactiles, and I will sketch. You can see that I can actually map on the fly reasonably good and I have my computer as a reference. And then I do it, and I'm developing my own rule set. We should talk about that at some other time too.
Let's do that. That's the reason to get you back on here. Yes, let's do it. Yep. Besides the fact that we can nerd about.
Exactly. Yep. So that's what's going on, so to speak. So
All right, you guys. One last shameless plug on her Patreon site. You guys go on there, and that QR code will take you right to it. And let's show her some support because of some of the great work that she does for our.
Thank
community.
You, Greg. Yeah, this is fun. I love conversations like this. It's so much fun. When you sit at home and just work with this, then you need someone to nerd out with.
I will admit, and we'll wrap up here, but I will admit I was a little starstruck tonight, and so I apologize if I stumbled or anything, but
well, meaning English is not my native language, so you definitely have the advantage here. So
so, but anyways, you guys, I just want to say thank you everybody who did show up tonight. And, looks like we dwindled down to 6 people left, but it is getting late on the East Coast. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Anna, again for coming on, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Okay, you guys all remember, take care of yourself. Game on. God bless. Have a good one.